to the DCL community, where we are here to help you plan, prepare for, and get excited for your Disney cruises. You guys know me. I'm Rebecca, your host and your admin of the DCL community. And today we are so excited to be joined by the wonderful team over at My Path Unwinding Travel to really focus on the concierge experience on board Disney Cruise Line, and not just the experience as a whole, but what makes the concierge experience so special across the Disney Cruise Line fleet. So as we're going through, please put your questions in the comments. We'll do our best to get to those, but let's go ahead and just say hello. Karen, you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Rebecca. So excited to be joining you again this evening. And hi, everybody. I'm Karen Shelton. I am the owner of My Path Unwinding Travel. We are an authorized Disney vacation planner, and we have a heart for all Disney destinations, especially Disney Cruise Line and especially concierge cruising. I've personally sailed on all 5 ships in concierge. And I am so excited that my partner in concierge crime is here with us tonight. Kaylee DeGorsey, one of our top travel advisors specializing in concierge cruising, and my co-moderator of our Disney Cruise Line concierge Facebook group. Hi, Kaylee.
Hi, I am so excited to be here. I am usually watching from home when you guys are doing these fabulous chats, and excited to jump in. I'm Kaylee DeGorsey. I'm located in Connecticut, and I have been with My Path Unwinding Travel since 2018. My family has also experienced concierge on all current ships, and I love to chat about it, and I'm excited for tonight.
Yes. Oh, I am so excited too. If you guys are new here, I have actually not sailed concierge before, so I'm going to be learning right along with you guys tonight. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, go ahead, put those in the comments. And I know that we're talking about Disney tonight, but My Path Unwinding Travel, you guys also have experience traveling at the whatever the equivalent of concierge level is on other cruise lines, right? Like Royal and Virgin. So if someone was curious about those other lines, okay, perfect.
We work with all cruise lines that have any sort of suite experience for sure, and search the Disney Cruise Line community, because Rebecca and I have done some great videos discussing those experiences on other cruise lines like Royal Caribbean and Virgin.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to this one. So let's go ahead and dive into which ship is best for concierge cruisers. I'm excited.
So one of the things I wanted to start out by talking about is that, across the fleet, there's some concierge benefits. So whichever ship you sail on with Disney Cruise Line, if you book a concierge stateroom or suite, you're going to have the same benefits across, again, any ship. And we have a couple of videos where we've discussed that. So go ahead and search the Disney Cruise Line community for that. But just have a couple of slides about the pre-arrival services that are a great benefit and puts you ahead of all other cruisers. And then the priority boarding and no port arrival time for all concierge cruisers. So no matter what ship you're in, no matter what port you're departing from, that experience, those benefits are the same.
Karen, one question for you on that one that we did get beforehand was, if I am concierge, should I do Disney transportation to take advantage of the port arrival time not applying to me, or should I do private transportation to take advantage of that?
Kaylee, you want to jump in?
So I generally recommend private transportation, because I feel like it really sort of kicks off the vacation and sets the tone that this is going to be an elevated experience. Generally, people who are sailing concierge would like to get to the port as early as possible. And when you're booking private transportation, you have some control over that, and you can request what time you'd like to arrive. The Disney transportation has gotten better, and they're starting to get to the ports a little bit earlier, but because it's a shared service and you're with non-concierge guests as well, you just don't quite have the same control. So I prefer to recommend private transportation.
And you guys have recommended companies that you can help your clients with? Beautiful, beautiful.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. I just had to get that
Absolutely.
question
No,
in.
that's a great question. And the fee for Disney Cruise Line transfers, particularly from Orlando over to Port Canaveral, has gone up. And so the value is really in private. If you have a group of 3 or 4 guests traveling together or more, you should definitely consider private transfers, even if you're not in concierge, but especially if you're concierge and want to, elevate that experience.
It's often the same price, if not less, like Karen's saying, if you have a larger group.
Exactly. So the other thing that is across the board that I had to put as one of the first pictures is
Yeah.
every ship has a concierge lounge, and we're going to dive in and talk about some of the differences about each of the lounges. But every ship has a concierge lounge, and every ship has an incredible coffee machine that is part of the concierge lounge and can make all these wonderful drinks with the different syrups, hot chocolate. I think it is one of the most coveted experiences in concierge, wouldn't you say, Haley?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a well caffeinated. I love it.
And every concierge lounge also has a beverage fridge of some kind that's available when the concierge lounge is open. This is the one on the Wish, which is really extensive and has lots of beverages in it. But they all have these types of beverages that are available for you to grab and take with you, stock up in your room, and for you to enjoy no matter which ship you're on. So I thought we'd start off talking about the Fantasy and the Dream. Those are sister ships, and their concierge amenities are virtually identical. And at this point, in many ways, even though they're not the oldest ships, they're the oldest lounges because of the updates that have been done on the other ones. I wanted to just point out for the Fantasy and the Dream, the location of the lounge is important, and it's an important consideration for when you're choosing a ship if the concierge experience is important to you. So as you can hopefully see here, the concierge lounge is on deck 12, and all of these staterooms and suites on deck 12 are concierge, and deck 11, those concierge is all concierge staterooms and suites as well. So it's just a quick walk up the stairs to get to the lounge. Or if you wanted to take the elevator, you could. But the location of the lounge for the Fantasy and Dream is really, really convenient. Kaylee, do you want to talk about what's actually in the lounge on the Fantasy and Dream?
So, as Karen said, the Fantasy and the Dream have pretty much identical lounges and concierge experiences. They're going to be open, I believe, from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. And during that time, there will be members of the concierge team there to assist with anything. As Kamisha told me once many years ago, if you're going to wait in line somewhere on the ship, don't do it. Come and see me. So that's sort of the level of service is they can help you with anything from changing a port adventure, getting a spa treatment, changing Apollo time or booking, or even, getting your photos or something from the shop or something like that. And then they offer a sampling of food and beverage throughout the day. So in the morning, they're sort of light bites for breakfast. And then they switch over to some sort of light snacks. They're light lunch items, and then afternoon sort of tea snacks. And then there's snacks in the evening as well. I wouldn't really call it a meal. It's not hot service. It's not a menu. And we'll talk a little bit about how Wish has changed that later. But really great offerings. And you could certainly have a light meal or breakfast in that time. And then in the evenings from 5 to 10 p.m., there's a full open bar that's included with concierge. And I don't like to call it the free bar. I like to say included because you have paid for it. And so that's a distinction that I do like to make. And that's for all beer, wine, cocktails, sort of anything that they have on the ship, they can provide for you during that time.
What about non-alcoholic drinks like smoothies or milkshakes for the kids? Are those included?
So on Fantasy and Dream, I believe they're still making those types of smoothies and things off. Like they're not available right in the lounge, but they're happy to get them for you. And then they'll bring them in a couple of times during the day and have sort of a little tray of them. They are included also. As you can see in this photo, there's Dole Whip that's available, and they'll just sort of put it out like that a few at a time for guests to help themselves too. So yes, absolutely, plenty of non-alcoholic options. And then again, there's, all of the soda and bottled water and all of that you could possibly want.
Fantastic.
Am I still going? Fantasy and Dream also have a beautiful sun deck right above the lounge space. Each of them have, all of these different seating areas. And in the center here, this little round thing is I'm going to say a water feature. It's a sort of mister. And then in the back of this photo, you can see to the right of the door with the porthole, you can see the handrail. There's a great big hot tub there that's probably, I'm going to say, for 6 to 8 people comfortably. And both Fantasy and Dream do have that now. At one point, Fantasy did not have that. I think it was Fantasy, but now they're identical.
Neither one had it originally, so it's new-ish to both.
On Fantasy and Dream, the sun deck is enclosed, and you can see the blue glass, which is frosted, and you cannot see through it. And so it is a consideration that there are not ocean views from this sun deck. There are sunny places, there are shaded places, there's a water feature, there is service up there. Somebody will come up and bring you drinks, and there's sunscreen and towels and loungers, but there is not an ocean view on Fantasy and Dream.
Good to know. I've always wondered what was behind that frosted glass. So that's good to know. That's what's behind there.
And there is a little door that your concierge key card will open from that deck. Which would be deck 13 then. So you can access it if you're up there. You can access it directly from the deck. There's also some stairs from the concierge lounge that go up and directly into the sun deck. But the drawback of this space is that it can get warm and that there aren't any views, but it still can be a really peaceful, quiet place that you're always guaranteed to find a spot. I don't think I've ever seen it with more than maybe 6 people in it.
One other thing that's interesting about the Fantasy and Dream sun deck is that the little door that Karen mentioned that goes out onto deck 13 actually goes into the adult only area in Satellite Falls. So if you are with little ones, they are welcome on the sun deck. But if you're then going to go try and get on the aqueduct or go in the pools, you just sort of have to scurry out quickly through the adult section because obviously that area is for 18 and up.
And remind us again the hours of the open bar.
Open bar is 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. every night.
Okay. This is great. I love the Fantasy and the Dream. So I'm like, oh, what are these others? These are the least recently renovated. I'm curious what everything else is gonna
There was a question about fireworks on the Dream and Fantasy, because as you see, it's sort of enclosed. It would not be really a good spot to watch the fireworks.
When we were on Fantasy last, the concierge team actually had us meet up on the sun deck and took us outside of the frosted glass. And we stood, I believe, starboard in a roped off area. And we were able to watch the fireworks from there. You can't hear the music, but you can, and you can't see the show, obviously, but you can watch the fireworks, with plenty of room and not people everywhere. So that's something new that they've added.
That's a great perk. And yes, I see a question about kids in the hot tub for the concierge sun deck. That whole sun deck area is family friendly. So kids are allowed. I believe it asks you not, of course, to have your children supervised. But yes, it is a family friendly area. So the next set of ships to discuss are the Wonder and the Magic, and they are sister ships. And so there's some similarities and some little differences about the Wonder and the Magic. Again, each one has a concierge lounge. They were both updated. the Concierge Lounge on the Magic was just updated last year, and I have not yet sailed on it since it's been updated. But Kaylee and I will be going this June with the DCL Duo, so that will be exciting. And then the Wonder was updated in, let's see, 2022 or 2022 when we had our group sailing. It had already been updated not too long before that. So they have really refreshed those areas. And what I want to point out here about the location, this screenshot only shows you a portion of the concierge rooms and suites on the Wonder or the Magic, because they're all over deck 8. They are only on deck 8. But what's missing from deck 8 is the Concierge Lounge. The Concierge Lounge is on deck 10. And so you do have to either climb a couple flights of stairs or take the elevator to get up to the lounge. And Kelly, do you want to comment a bit about the lounge amenities and setup on the Wonder and the Magic?
Sure. So I also have not been on Magic since the reimagining of the lounge, and I'm very much looking forward to it. It was the smallest space, but it is now significantly larger and has a large outdoor area, although it is covered. The Wonder Lounge is possibly my favorite in the fleet. Obviously, Wish has a lot of wonderful things about it, but the Wonder Lounge is large and spacious and airy. There is plenty of room for everyone in all of these different seating areas. And it has a beautiful sun deck up above, which Karen flashed there, with, you know, all these palapas and chairs and tables, and they're both shaded and sunny areas, and you can watch the fireworks from up there. But the lounge on Wonder is really remarkable in that it has all these different areas, and it's just, like I said, it's spacious and there's room for everyone. It's a great place to go and, you know, have a drink, or my husband and I love to go play cards up there. And with Wonder being one of the smaller ships, there's the opportunity to really chat with the concierge team that's there, or, you know, meet people. And it's a great place to spend some time.
That just brought back a memory that I had of being in concierge on the Disney Magic before the update, but sitting with one of the concierge managers, Alina at that time, and really just having a great conversation with her. And, you know, that's one of the special things, especially on the Wonder and Magic, is having the opportunity to get to meet the concierge team and feel really connected with them, especially when you have a little bit more time on board. These are some updated snapshots of the new Disney Magic Concierge Lounge. And, you know, some beautiful spaces, the food displays, the bar still there. Thanks to the DCL Duo for letting me screen grab some from their videos here, because we haven't been on yet.
I have a point about the bar. So the bar, we didn't say on Fantasy and Dream, it's not a sort of set bar. It's just a little counter. And in the evening, they come and set the bar up. On Magic, it used to be the same way, but now you can see in this slide, it's a big, full, dedicated bar, which is nice because the complimentary cocktail hours do get busy. And so people are waiting. And if it's a small area, it can get congested. So that's a really nice update. And the Wonder has a nice bar like that as well.
Right. And the negative feature of the Magic and Wonder is, while the outside areas are open and give you some views and some breeze and fresh air and beautiful seating area, there are not water features on the Magic or Wonder. So there's no hot tub, there's no type of water feature on those ships. I don't know that would be in the works for them to add those on those smaller ships at this point. But again, it's a trade-off, because there's just, you know, the Wonder and the Magic tend to be some passengers' favorites in concierge, just because of the intimacy of the entire ship and of the relationships that you build with the concierge team.
I do have to ask, I know we're talking about the Magic and our friends over at the DCL Duo. You guys have a group cruise with them coming up in a couple months. Are there still rooms available if somebody was interested in sailing on the Magic with you guys?
So this is a great time to mention that. Thanks for bringing it up. We actually have two extremely rare opportunities to sail with a group on the Disney Magic. The first is with the DCL Duo, June 19th, on a 3-night out of Fort Lauderdale that visits Nassau and Lookout Key at Lighthouse
Ooh.
Point, the new island destination. We do still have some rooms available, not in concierge, but we have some group rates and we're doing some great fun activities. Kaylee and I will be on board with the DCL Duo. But we have a really incredible experience on a 5-night sailing on July 15th, also on the Magic out of Fort Lauderdale. This is one of the first sailings that's going to go to both Castaway Key and Lighthouse Point. It is being hosted by our very own Angie Gargaro, who is such a wonderful advisor on our team and used to be part of the Plan Disney panel, and she and some of her Plan Disney alums will be sailing. There will be, again, some group opportunities to experience a cocktail reception and some other fun things. Again, that's a 5-night, and we have a couple of concierge staterooms left that are locked in our group only with incredible savings. And we would love for anybody out there to reach out to us to get those booked, because we want those booked before the 130-day marker for making concierge requests. So that would be a really great time to do that.
I'll go ahead and I'll get the link to y'all's page on the DCL community website in the comments for everybody. So if you guys want to take advantage of these group rates, reach out and get booked, because there's only so many rooms. But sorry to interrupt with that one. I just, we've been mentioning our friends over at the DCL Duo, and I was like, oh, there's an opportunity here. So
thank you so much for sharing that. And somebody just asked about sending them information. In this forum, I can't see who you are. So if I don't go back into the Facebook group and respond to you, please find us and message us. Our information will be all over the DCL community, and I'll try to comment. So would love to hear from anybody interested in that. So now let's move on to the Disney Wish. And I included the Disney Treasure because they are sister ships. They should have, as far as we can tell, virtually identical layouts and amenities for the Concierge Lounge. And this is such an incredible concierge experience. So definitely take a look. Wanted to show you the location of the lounge is primarily the main inside access is deck 12, where all of those concierge staterooms are located. But there is also an access point to get to Concierge Lounge and the concierge outside areas from deck 13, where there are more concierge staterooms and suites. And also note that there's some concierge rooms in a couple different areas of note. The first is on deck 11 on the very front forward of the ship are concierge staterooms without verandas. And I don't think I threw a picture in the slideshow here, but they have floor-to-ceiling windows, incredible views off the front of the ship. And basically that space that would be in your veranda is in the stateroom. And if you can get one of those on the corner, they're even larger, or if you can get one that's smack in the middle, you just have such gorgeous views from that, like 11,000. And then there's the Wish Tower Suite, which I had such the fortunate opportunity to stay in for the quickest 2 nights ever, right as the Wish was being launched. That is technically on deck 14, nowhere near the Concierge Lounge, but it is considered one of the royal suites and still has full Concierge Lounge access. So there are a lot of concierge staterooms and suites on the Wish, and will be on the Treasure as
Karen,
well.
I would just add that there are also the one story royal suites that are all the way aft on deck 10.
Oh, that's true. I didn't grab that
Yeah.
shot either. Thank
So
you for pointing that out.
Those rooms are really spectacular, but they are very far from the lounge.
Right. So for those folks that love the convenience on the fantasy and dream of just like popping into the lounge, those, it's a trade-off to choose some of those other options. Depending on your family and how you use the lounge, it's definitely a trade-off. So, Kaylee, do you want to talk about all these? Go ahead.
I can just interrupt with the two quick questions. So first question is, we always get asked about the walls for concierge staterooms, and the doors, can I use magnets? Can I actually participate in all these door decorations and fish extenders? So can you guys just touch on that? Is that something concierge guests can take advantage of?
Yes. The short answer is yes. I know that there has been some discussion recently about some things changing, and I have not gotten any kind of official word from Disney about that with regard to putting magnets on the concierge doors. The Magic and Wonder have the same doors as everyone else for concierge, so there's no issue there. The Dream and Fantasy just need the rare earth magnets, which are pretty easy to find at a craft store or Amazon. I will say that the concierge areas are not as often decorated, but they certainly are decorated. My family has always put some magnets up. We decorated our door when we sailed on Wish. And all of the staterooms do have the fish extender, so there's no issue with hanging your pouch.
Fantastic. And then the other question for you, we got this one today, was what about my family of 5? Is there going to be one stateroom for a family of 5 in concierge, or am I going to have to get 2?
All the concierge staterooms across the fleet can accommodate a family of 5, except for there might be 1 or 2 accessible staterooms that only can accommodate 4. I think that might be the case in a 1-bedroom accessible stateroom on the Wonder and Magic, but I will have to check. But it's a rare exception. The vast majority of them will accommodate 5, and we have connecting options. We also have, depending on the ship and the stateroom category, opportunities for much larger groups under one reservation. So the Wonder and Magic have 2-bedroom suites and a 2-bedroom royal suite. So they can hold, Kaylee,
7.
do you remember offhand?
7. Those are 7.
Up to 7, while the royal suite on the Dream and Fantasy can only hold 5, but you can get a connecting suite to it. And then on the Wish, there's a whole bunch of different options, including the Tower Suite that I think can hold 2, 4, 6. I think at least 8 in the Tower Suite. So we can help you figure out the best configuration to maximize the experience for your family.
Fantastic.
That's a great question. So, Kaylee, do you want to jump in and talk a little bit more about the lounge experience on the Wish?
Sure. So with the Disney Wish, DCL really introduced something new and wonderful and overdue, which was a much larger space to accommodate more concierge passengers, with a larger lounge with more offerings and more bars and a huge sun deck up on deck 13. So the menu that I speak of offers small hot plates throughout the day that you can actually have breakfast that you order off of the menu, or lunch, or even dinner. And they have, eggs and sandwiches and burgers and really great fries. And my husband and I had a lot of fun testing out all of the different things last time that we were on Wish. And it is a really nice upgrade to be able to have a meal in the concierge lounge. The bar that I speak of, there is a full dedicated bar area that it's just sort of to the right in this photo. And a bartender is, or 2 or 3 are there in the evenings from 5 to 10. And then there's also a wine cart. So typically people who want mixed drinks that take a little bit longer, or something that requires, a blender or something like that, would be at the bar. And if you just want a glass of wine, you're over on the other side. Or the Cloud M cider, which is what all the kids like, the blue apple cider that you can get in the concierge lounge. And then up on deck 13, there's a huge, actually the sun deck does go both deck 12 and 13. I believe this is deck 12.
This is
right
deck
outside the
12. So if
lounge.
you're coming out of the indoor space from that first level, the concierge lounge, this is the sun deck on deck 12.
I mean, with just
And
expansive
then
views of the sea and a beautiful place to sit, for sunrise or sunset, depending on what time of day you're there. And then this is up on deck 13, and there are 2 big hot tubs. So you can see one of them sort of in the center of this photo. And then there's this little splash area on the right here with a bench along the back with some running water. And it's not a pool by any means, but it is a lovely place to sit with a cold cocktail with your feet in the water, or, some kind of fun fizzy drink. And on the other side of this little seating area, there is a full outdoor bar that's tended during the day. You can see there are these smoothie machines where they typically have 2 different flavors. Often one of them is Dole Whip. And then when the bartender's there, they're happy to get you anything that you'd like to drink, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic. Alcoholic drinks are not complimentary during the day, I will say. So you are paying for those during the day, but the bartender is there, so the convenience factor is definitely great. What did I miss?
And what's really nice about this is that essentially there's 2 bar areas in concierge during that happy hour time. So you can be outside at this gorgeous space or inside, which helps because there's so many concierge cruisers on the Wish, since there are, I think, 76 total concierge staterooms and suites. And for that reason, among many others, one question was, can non-concierge guests visit the lounge with you? And the answer is no. These spaces are limited only to concierge guests. Even if you are traveling together, you cannot invite them into these exclusive concierge areas. You can enjoy the rest of the ship together. You can still dine together, in the rotational dining rooms, but you cannot invite non-concierge guests.
Your veranda, but yeah.
Exactly. If you have a suite, they can be there, but just these sun deck and lounge areas are exclusive spaces. So let's see. Anything else we want to talk about the Wish and the Treasure?
So the wonderful things about Wish and Treasure, which are the larger lounge and the more rooms, can also be seen as a downside for many people, because there's a much larger concierge team on board to accommodate that many guests. And these cruises are 3 and 4 night cruises. And there's just not the same opportunity to make those connections with the staff the way that there is on the smaller ships. And so many people do miss that, although the other parts are very nice.
Exactly right. And, this space on the Wish is it's hard to tell from these photos. I have many, many more I could share, but this is on the front of the ship. If we go back to the deck plan here, you can see that on the deck 13, it's the very front of the ship. It's 2 decks above where those staterooms are on deck 11. So you have just incredible views, incredible breezes, really like nothing else in the fleet. But because it is such a large experience, it can be harder to get a cabana, which is one of the benefits that a lot of people enjoy from booking concierge, is that opportunity to request a cabana ahead of all other guests, even Pearl. But what I advise our guests now is that if you're in the Royal Suite, I would say, if you're in the Royal Suite and are booked at 130 days prior to sailing, you will almost definitely get a cabana. If you are not, we can submit your request for you at midnight on the dot. And even still, it is essentially a lottery because so many people know to do that now. And there's so many people that love the cabanas. So on the Wish, you may have less of an opportunity to be assigned a cabana.
And I know we're talking about some of the pros and cons here of the ships. Is this something that you guys can help your clients talk through of when it might be worth it for them to do concierge versus when it might not be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's often a question that, clients come to us with. I'm curious about concierge. I'm not sure it's in the budget. What are the reasons why it might be good for this trip? What are the reasons why this might be a trip to skip it? So I have to say that for when I was first starting out sailing concierge, I was set that it was always worth it on the longer cruises, the 7 nights, or because you were really having the opportunity to get to know that team that was on board and take advantage of all the things and spend time in the lounge. And my husband said that he felt like it was more value on the shorter sailings because you don't have as much time to wait in line. And, everything is sort of taken care of at a faster pace than it is on the longer. So there really is, you can argue the value either way, whether it's a short or long sailing.
Okay, so if you are still trying to figure out if concierge is worth it for you, reach out to the team here, and they can help you through that conversation and all the perks and benefits.
That is such an ongoing question, and we have clients who never sail in concierge, and we're happy to help you maximize your experience, even if you never set foot in the concierge lounge. We have clients who only sail in concierge, and we will gladly help them maximize their experience. And then we have clients that will do it, depending. It might be a special occasion, or it might be that they've decided, just feel like it's a better value on a certain date, or it's just a splurge for whatever reason. So, and I personally have kind of gone back and forth for different reasons, and you can have an amazing cruise on Disney Cruise Line without concierge. I want to always emphasize that. But of course, we have, many, many very, very dedicated concierge cruisers, which is why Disney has continued to elevate the concierge experience with these new spaces on the new ships.
Oh, so many good options. And the concierge is just getting more and more popular, and I can clearly see why.
It is. It can really be, sell out on a lot of cruises. It's very unusual now to be able to upgrade at the port, for example, like some people used to do. One of the last little slides that I threw in here, this is something that, again, is across the fleet. No matter which ship you're on, you will have a concierge team, and it will vary between 3 concierge managers to, I think the Wish might have 5 now. So the Wish has, expanded in order to make sure that the customer experience is elevated. And I really think that the concierge team, as with a lot of experiences throughout Disney destinations, the concierge team is the secret sauce. It's really what, the space is beautiful, and the things that you get to do ahead of time and not waiting in line and all that is great. But it's these folks that really make it special. And we have developed relationships with many of the concierge team across the fleet. We stay in touch with them. We have many families that choose to sail on certain dates, certain ships, because they want to go back and spend time with these folks.
Love
And that just in the same way that, we have requests for servers, you might say, I really want to have this certain server that we just loved, and we want to go back and see them, and what ship are they going to be on? The concierge team is that same way. They really form special relationships. And this is the crew from when we sailed on the Disney Wonder a couple of years ago. Glenn has moved on. He was actually on the Wish. He helped launch the concierge experience on the Wish, and now has moved on to a role with Walt Disney World. But all these folks, we love seeing them over the years. And I don't know, Kaylee, what else would you have to say about, the concierge team?
I mean, you said it perfectly. They're the secret sauce. They are, they're your friends and they're your guides and they're your advocates and they're there for anything you need, whether it's, a spa appointment or a Band-Aid or, somebody to play games with in the lounge or to color with your kids or to trade pins. I mean, it's that relationship as it grows is very special. And my daughter, who's now almost 19, we sailed with Disney for her 10th birthday. That was our first cruise. And in the 9 years, it's been really fun to see the same familiar faces when we get on those ships. And she's been able to grow up, getting to see this, like Karen said, the same way that people request the same servers. It really is, it's magic.
Amazing. That gave me goosebumps. And just having those relationships, Disney, that level of service you're going to get across the ships, but to have that in such not one-on-one, but such a dedicated kind of intentional capacity in those spaces, that's something special. That's awesome.
So there's so much more to the concierge experience. We haven't, begun to dive into all of it. As I mentioned earlier, please go back on YouTube and look for the other concierge videos that Rebecca and I have done together to dive in further. But a quick couple of points. Yes, they have now brought back the character experiences in the lounge. Those were put on hold during those pre-times that we don't want to talk about anymore when they were doing social distancing on board. But we do now have a unique opportunity for a character to stop by the lounge for unique, kind of smaller scale interaction. If you're in concierge on an Alaska cruise, you might have some particularly special opportunities on that ship. Yes, I see a question about dining time and table size. Concierge will absolutely get you main or second dining, regardless of what is available at the time that you book. And concierge guests are automatically given private tables unless you request otherwise. So that is, another benefit. And I see a question. Yes, please hit back to YouTube or Facebook to watch this entire talk we've had tonight.
So much good information. And if you guys have any questions, if you are trying to figure out if a Disney cruise is right for you, take concierge out of it. Is a Disney cruise the best vacation for your family? Or do you want to look into all-inclusive resorts or Royal or Virgin or any of those other cruise lines? And then once you get into it, what does that experience on board look like for you? I know there are so many decisions to make when it comes to booking a vacation. And there's so much pressure that we put on ourselves to plan the perfect trip. But that's why having a trusted travel advisor, and especially somebody that Disney trusts in My Path Unwinding Travel, it just takes so much of that pressure off of you so that you can enjoy it. And one of the best parts is, yes, you get a friend in it all, but you also don't have to pay anything extra for all of their help and services. So reach out to them with any questions. Kaylee, Karen, any last thoughts to wrap up this awesome? I mean, I learned so much. I did not realize the spaces varied so much, but let me tell you, I love the pool on the Magic, but having that extra little outdoor space up top, it feels so cozy up there. And Kayla, like you were saying, I just want to go up there with a glass of wine and some cards and just enjoy the night. That sounds wonderful. But any last thoughts to close us out?
I would just
appreciate everybody.
I was just going to say I'm sure there are questions that we're not getting to, and anyone can feel free to message us, ask us anything. The spaces, this talk was called sort of what is the best concierge experience? And I will say I don't have a best because it's sort of corny, but I really think each one of them is special in its own way. And I love them all. I really do.
Oh, it's so true.
We'll have to do a basketball style bracket to compete among the ships, especially when the treasure comes on. And oh, who knows what the new Disney Adventure will have, that massive ship, what they're going to do for Concierge there. I think it's going to have to blow everybody away, sailing out of Asia. So it's going to be incredible to see what they surprise us with on board that ship. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for listening in. This is just one of the most fun opportunities that we have to connect with everybody. And I want to thank Rebecca for this partnership that we have. We really enjoy it. And I'm so glad that everybody tuned in.
Oh, right back at you. This is always so much fun for me. Thank you guys all for joining. If you have any questions, reach out to Karen, Kaylee, and the team over at My Path Unwinding Travel. Like we said, their planning services are totally free for you to use. So lean on them to be those resources in your planning and just enjoy the vacation planning process. But thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, and we will see all y'all on board real soon. Bye, guys.